Yo, 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 what's good? What's good with y'all, man? Let's talk about the Detroit Pistons today. Going into the 2024-25 season, they made a whole bunch of acquisitions last offseason, getting Tobias Harris, getting Paul Reed, getting shooters like Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., and they got Dennis Schroeder in last year's trade deadline. That season, no one, I mean absolutely no one, not even the elder gods themselves, no matter how many times Raiden tried to consult with them, believed in the Detroit Pistons. But Detroit became a top 6 seed. They won on a crazy 8-game winning streak. Cade Cunningham was starting to make a name for himself as a budding all-star, not superstar, but a really, really good all-star. He could be a superstar in the making, sure, but he was really making a name for himself that season. And it helps that he had a really, really good team around him. JB Bickerstaff did one hell of a job with the roster last year, and they took the New York Knicks to a Game 6. And every single last bit of that playoff series between Detroit and the Knicks came down to pretty much the final buzzer, the final possession of the game. Obviously, I discussed it in my Knicks video. Yeah, the infamous Tim Hardaway Jr. No foul call on the three-point line in Game 4, which could have really shifted the series in Detroit's favor, but they didn't call it. Regardless, the Pistons had a magnificent season, and I think they only got better. Now, this past offseason, Tim Hardaway Jr. walked. He signed with the Denver Nuggets. I think I already made my feelings known about that. That's a great signing for Jokic and Jamal Murray. And then Malik Beasley, he recently beat the charges, but he was in some deep SH with the whole gambling thing. And then you have Dennis Schroeder going to the Sacramento Kings. They still kept Paul Reed. They still have Tobias for the meantime. But they flipped Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. for Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. And I saw a lot of Duncan in Miami. Duncan, when he's on, he's an absolute sniper from three. I saw that game where he hit 10 threes. I think it was against Philadelphia. I think that was his rookie year too. And I saw him hit a lot of big threes in the playoffs with Miami, especially in 2023. And then Karis LeVert, I've seen a lot of him. Good shot creator. He can be the two guard, or sometimes he can play the one. He can play the three as well. He can definitely complement Jaden Ivey, Cade Cunningham, and I think you have a really good shot creator off the bench as well. Now, obviously, in my dream fantasy world, I actually still wish the Detroit Pistons, they could still do it, but I don't know. It could be a pipe dream at this point, but I talked about it in my series recap video covering the Knicks Pistons. I put this up as my personal offseason plan. I essentially said in that video, and you guys can go watch it, I said the Pistons should trade for Klay Thompson and Harrison Barnes or Andrew Wiggins. I think those are upgrades over Tim Hardaway and Tobias Harris, in my personal opinion. You guys may not agree. That's fine. I also did say they should add locker room pieces like Patrick Beverley or Reggie Jackson. Obviously, those two will not get much playing time because JB will love playing the young guys. He'll play Ron Holland. He'll play Asar Thompson. He'll play Marcus Sasser. But I personally do think getting guys like a Klay or Wiggins, and you see in my gameplay video, I put KCP back on the Pistons because I think his presence will be of a great value for that young Pistons team that really could use that type of experience. But I'm not mad at the signings at Duncan and LeVert because, again, Duncan is a really good shooter, especially when he's on, and Karis LeVert can really add to Detroit's offense, especially off the bench. Now, I want to talk about Cade Cunningham. Obviously, Cade did not play all that great against the Knicks last year, but it doesn't change the fact that he had one hell of a season, and a lot of people praised Cade for the type of job he's done with Detroit last year. Tim Hardaway Jr. said on the Young Man of the Three, Cade is a natural-born leader. And JB Bickerstaff has praised Cade throughout the season last year, saying that everybody eats on Cade's plate as long as he's out there and playing. But going back to Cade's playoff performance, obviously he averaged 25, 8, and damn near 9 assists, but you look at his percentages, 42% from the field. Not bad, but not great. His three-point percentage was absolutely terrible. I think Game 6, or one of the games, he went 0 for on all his threes. I think it was either Game 6 or Game 4. But he shot 83% from the free throw line. But for some context, in the regular season, Cade averaged 26.1, 9 assists, 6 rebounds, but shooting a career-high 35.6% from three and almost 47% from the field. But I took his playoff performances he had against the Knicks with a grain of salt because even though Cade and I are the same age, for me, it was just one of those things where Cade just went through what every young player has went through in the playoffs. Obviously, Tyrese Halliburton, you could say he's an outlier. Same with a guy like Jason Tatum in his first playoff run with Boston in 2018. But again, For me, I think Cade just had that flashpoint moment that Anthony Edwards had in his first playoff series against the Memphis Grizzlies. I talked about it in my series recap vid. What I saw from Cade in those 6 games against the Knicks were the exact same things that I saw from Anthony Edwards in those 6 games against Memphis in 2022. Now, what do I mean by that? In those 6 games against the Knicks, for me, I think Cade was just rushing the offense a little too much, and he took a lot of bad shots in that series. Essentially trying to be the hero and showing everyone that, hey, I'm the reason the Pistons got here, when everyone knows you're the reason the Pistons got there. And there ain't nothing wrong with that, bro, because, again, I saw the same things with Ant in 2022. Ant made some very poor decisions on both sides of the ball. I remember in that Game 5 against Memphis, Ant tried going for the steal, Ja got ahead of steam, and Ja gets the layup to go, ultimately giving the Grizzlies the lead and the series for good. I saw it with Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis in his first playoff series in 2015 against the Chicago Bulls. We saw those type of bad decision-making, bad IQ type of plays then. Kobe, for example, he airballed 4 straight shots against Utah when he was a young player. And Shaq told him that those same shots you're missing now are going to be the same shots you're going to be hitting throughout your career. So I'm not trying to compare Cade to either of those guys, but I'm just saying that Cade just went through that type of phase that almost every young player in their first playoff series goes through. Again, there are some exceptions to the rule, but even LeBron hit what I call the young player wall in his playoff debut with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 2006. And all those players I mentioned got better after their first playoff series. Obviously, Ant has a lot to work on, but with guys like Giannis, Kobe, and LeBron, Giannis got his ring in 2021, Kobe won his 5 rings, LeBron won his 4 rings, and multiple All-Star appearances, and all that other stuff. So I believe in Cade enough that he may not be as great as those guys, because a lot of people are saying, Ant is the face of the NBA or whatever. And I'm not saying Cade will be on that level, but I do think he has a really bright future and a great upside. And I think that series against the Knicks will make him better. And I think he's only going to grow from here. Now let's talk about Jaden Ivey. Obviously, when everyone saw that really bad leg injury that Jaden had against the Orlando Magic, a lot of people were kind of scratching their heads, and a lot of people thought that that was going to be the backbreaker to Detroit's season. Now, obviously, that wasn't the case because they still became a top 6 seed and all that, but it was clear in that Knicks series that Cade did not really have a secondary scorer that's reliable enough. I mean, yeah, Tobias Harris, but here's the thing. You can live with Tobias Harris scoring 19, 20-ish points, but the thing is, they needed Jaden Ivey for that series because he can counter what Jalen Brunson, Mikal Bridges, OG, and Karl Towns can do. And he would have taken a lot of pressure off of Cade when it comes to ball handling too. And here's the thing, bro. Ivey was getting a lot better as the season was going on. I remember him hitting a game winner against Toronto. And I was just like, man, that I know why people are so high on this kid now. Because I kind of slept on Jaden when he got drafted in 2022. But the more I watched him, I'm just like, yo, I'm impressed with this dude, bro. As much as I hate to see those type of leg injuries, I am definitely thankful that Jaden's injury was not ACL or Achilles related. Obviously, I brought this up on my channel ad nauseum. Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Dame Lillard, I didn't bring him up, but DeJounte Murray suffered a torn Achilles himself. Kyrie tearing his ACL, and all that other stuff. I'm just thankful that that didn't happen to Jaden Ivey, and I do think he'll be back in full force. But I do wonder, and Pistons fans, help me out in the comments, do you guys think Jaden Ivey will be a little slower? Because, again, I saw this type of injury with a guy like Gordon Hayward. Obviously, everybody knows about the gruesome Paul George injury. Difference is Gordon was not the same player, but PG came back averaging MVP-like numbers, especially with the Oklahoma City Thunder and parts of the LA Clippers as well. I wonder if Jaden is going to slow down a little bit because of that leg injury and because he doesn't want to, break it again or tear something in it again. But Pistons fans, help me out in the comments. Overall, I'm really excited to see how Detroit progresses this year. Obviously, the Eastern Conference is as decimated as is, so I think this will be a great opportunity for Detroit to be a top 5, top 4 seed in the East. I think you're going to see a lot of progression from Cade Cunningham, and I know I've sounded this off in a lot of Pistons and a lot of Detroit Pistons comment sections on Instagram too, but I do hope that they make a trade for a guy like Clay, for a guy like Andrew Wiggins or PJ Washington, and for a guy like Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, because even though KCP is more of a bad contract, if that weren't a bad contract that he got from Orlando, I would have been for the Pistons getting KCP back, because he can do the things that Tim Hardaway and Beasley can do. Same with Clay. Even though Wiggs is a little more, I want to say, a little undersized in comparison to a guy like Tobias, he could definitely complement guys like Asar Thompson, Cade Cunningham, and Jaden Ivey, because Wiggs is still an athletic freak, even at this stage of his career. And also, Luke Walton's a part of that Pistons coaching staff, and he's coached Clay before. I don't know if he coached Wiggins in that 2022 finals run, but I know he coached Clay as well, so there's going to be a lot of continuity between Luke and Clay. But one more thing before I let y'all go, speaking of coaching, JB Bickerstaff is a really good coach. Bicky did a really good job turning this Pistons franchise around. He got them out of basketball hell, especially after that dark season they had in 2023-24, where they lost 28 in a row under former Coach of the Year Monty Williams. Bicky established a culture and identity, something that was missing from Cade and the Pistons his first 3 years. The Pistons finally have an identity. They have a grit and grind type of team. They have a no-nonsense type of attitude on the court, and I love it. And I love that they have, again, a grit and grind type of defense, and also they have an offense where everyone plays their role. I think the problem with Monty Williams with the Pistons is that there were a lot of guys that played out of their role. There was a lot of issues between him and Jaden Ivey, where Monty tried playing J.I. like he's Mikal Bridges, like he's Cam Johnson, but Jaden wanted to play his brand of basketball, which is being a slasher and a mid-range shooter and a good three-point shooter and all that other stuff. Jaden is a natural playmaking slasher that complements Cade a lot, and Monty didn't want to play him like that. Ivey went back to his natural position and natural role under Bickerstaff, but again, it was unfortunate that his season was cut short due to that fatal leg injury that he suffered against the Orlando Magic. But overall, man, I am very excited to see the Detroit Pistons and how they are only growing from here, and I do think they're going to be a top 4 seed in the Eastern Conference, like I said. But let me turn it over to y'all, man. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is the year for the Detroit Pistons to really, really grow as a team? Do you guys think they'll be a top seed in the East? What other offseason moves do you think they should have made, or what offseason moves at all you guys think they should have made? If you guys can think of players better than Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, I do think they complement the Pistons really well. But like I said, I would love for them to get KCP, Clay, Andrew Wiggins, or Harrison Barnes for that matter. Well, what do y'all think, Pistons fans? Are y'all excited for the season or not? Because I'm not a Pistons fan. Obviously, I should hate y'all because, I'm a Laker fan. We faced y'all in the finals plenty of times. But honestly, it'd be cool to hear Detroit basketball in a playoff home win in Detroit, Michigan. But let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below. More off-season videos coming soon. I got a gameplay video of Raiden from Mortal Kombat 11. Stay tuned for that. But until then, that's the end of this video. I'm X. Deuces.